Hey folks, welcome back to our build of the worst flanker kit ever. We're going to pick up right where we left off. We're getting into the cockpit, starting with the ejection seat. If you missed part one, there's going to be a little card for you to click right there in the upper right hand corner so you can see what we've done already, but otherwise, let's get going and have fun. We are now coming up to one of the worst parts of this kit, the ejection seat, which is made up of three pieces that look like, well, the sides almost look like some kind of seat, but then you've got this awkward thing in the middle. It looks like no ejection seat in any aircraft ever made. I don't know what they got this from. I don't know where they saw this thing, or if they just generically said, "Hey, this could look like a seat. Let's do this." But this is what they came up with. So let's go. So here's a fun problem, and I did verify with the instructions that I placed the cockpit floor in the right place. I put it exactly as the instructions told me to place it there, but see that little bracket for the seat? It's way too far back for the seat to fit in it. So it just won't go. So I'm actually going to have to cut off part of that headrest in order for it to fit into the cockpit. So this was an unforeseen little problem. So I'm just going to cut part of that headrest off. Right back there. Kind of reminds me of Alien's head being all elongated. If I'm actually going to get it to fit and sit level in the cockpit. So that's fun. So let me just get to that, and we'll see where we go from there. right, so we are ready for our initial painting right here. And still not satisfied with this shape, calling it a flanker at all, but here it is. So I am going to try a technique that I don't normally do. Normally I prefer to do a white primer and then pre-shade with black along panel lines, but I'm going to try something else with this that a lot of people do that I've never done, but why not? I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to prime with black and then do some pre-lightening with white along, because we just have big panels and not a lot of panel lines on this. And then I'll paint over that. So interestingly enough, we have FS numbers for all the painting here. And this is very interesting because, so let's see, so we've got FS3, these are very commonly used numbers right here. That's very interesting. I don't know if they're colors I would use on a flanker, but this is light ghost gray right here. This is 270. This is medium gray, and this one is, I'm spelling it wrong, neutral gray. And work with the FS numbers long enough, and these are so common, you start to get to know what they are. I should do a whole video just on the FS 595B code sometime. So note that there is no actual blue color involved in these instructions at all. These are all shades of gray, which is not actually correct. Okay, but again, this is what they call for, and like I said, I'm building this pretty much out of the box. And if we look at the paint scheme on the box, yeah, you've just got shades of gray here, so we're gonna go for it. Now, one other shade, oh no, it's neutral gray is what they're doing, what we're doing the dielectric panels on. So basically, we've got, if we look at the paint job here, we've got the light ghost gray all over the place, pretty much, and then we've got the medium gray for our darker areas, and then we've got the neutral gray as our dielectric panels, our radome, whatever these panels are supposed to be. I don't know what they're actually supposed to be. These are actual panels that you'd find on a flanker. They're not doing anything on the tail. Whatever. It's their plane. We're just doing it. And, you know. Oh, and then an anti-glare black, which we don't see on many old flankers, but we're doing it on this one, so cool. And then they don't state it here, but of course we're gonna do some metallic on the engine, on the nozzles, and then we'll come back and we'll do the white for the landing gear wells and the missiles and the landing gear and stuff like that. So this should be very interesting, and of course we've got to do a pre-coat of the interior color for the canopy and the windscreen underneath it all. So this should be, like I said, this should be interesting. All right, Revell, we'll give you what you want. Let's go ahead. I don't think you can still write to them and get a deck. You used to be able to get a deck of 595B color chips. I don't think you can do that anymore. But let's get to this. I'm gonna give the whole thing a little rub down, just plain old rubbing alcohol with a paper towel. Get any fingerprints or finger oils or anything off this before we start painting. Like I had said earlier on, this is a whole new technique to me. One of the lessons learned here is use the smallest airbrush needle you have. I'm using a 0.3. My airbrush can take a 0.2, and next time I try this, definitely going to switch to that smaller airbrush needle to make this finer control and just a little bit neater. Well, painted most of the way. We still have some other details to do. We've still got weapons to do, and we've got landing gear bays to do and stuff, but tried a new technique. I kind of like it, I kind of don't. I can see that, number one, I need practice doing it, but number two, I can see how it gives you that modeled, faded out look when done right, which I don't think I really did it right. But so according to the Revell instructions, this is what a flanker looks like. Oh no, I spilled some thinner there. Look at that. Well, you know what? I'll touch that up. I must have just dropped a little bit of something on it. It happens. It happens. But you know what? I can touch that up real quick. The profile on this is just wrong. It's just, especially forward. I said this before and I'll say it again. Like the air intakes are too shallow. There's too much of a bulbiness to the canopy. I think the whole thing is too short. You have the outward cant to both the ventral fins and the vertical stabilizers, and the wings might be too short. I don't know, but it looks wrong in every possible dimension. But again, I'm building this strictly per Revell instructions just to see how it comes out. I did take a little creative liberty with the exhaust because I needed to do something. So I did a little bit. Not 100% realistic flanker, but not quite just metal. Gave it a little bit of touch of color there. Overall though, it is coming along. We're gonna pause for this part, and when we pick up next time, we will start with our initial gloss coat. I just can't take it. We'll start with our initial gloss coat, and then we will move on to, well, I'll touch this up before we get there, right there. But then we'll do our initial gloss coat, and then we will do some more to highlight these panel lines, get working on landing gear areas, landing gears, weapons, all those things that need to be done to make this a complete model. The colors remind me more of a MiG-29 also. I don't know why I'm stuck on this MiG-29 thing, but anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this part. We will probably just have one more part of this where we finish this aircraft off. So please join me for part 3, the final part of building this aircraft, this 1989 release of the Revell 172 scale Su-27 flanker. Everybody building along at home, keep building and build them well, and I'll see you again right here real soon.